What's up, YouTube? It's Andre, the superhero of love, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am absolutely grateful, thankful, and blessed to have each and every single one of you, beautiful hearts and souls, join me on this video. We're going to be talking about the 3 tips that I've used on how I've been able to learn things at an accelerated rate. So basically how I've learned things faster. But before we dive in, if you're new to my channel, hello, and I say welcome. And I'm so grateful that you're here. And if you can, would you please hit the like button, smash the subscribe button, and turn on the notification bell so that every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, whenever I post, you'll be able to see it in your notifications and you're going to be able to watch it. All right, everybody, let's dive right in. I have a quick question for you, though. Are you someone who struggles to A, learn, B, gets distracted, or C, find it just really difficult to just retain things? Well, you're not alone, because I was like that too before I had my spiritual awakening. And I've implemented these 3 tips to really help me. I call it hyper learning, where I'm able to just learn things at an accelerated rate. And you can apply this too. Now, your mileage may vary, of course, on how you use this, because we're all different and unique, beautiful souls on how we learn things. But I found that these 3 tips really helped me out. So my first tip that I have for you is you have to sharpen the axe. Now, this is a quote from Abraham Lincoln from back in the days, where he stated, if you had 6 hours to chop down a tree, you would spend 4 hours to sharpen the axe and 2 hours to chop the actual tree. So what does that analogy mean? It simply means that you have to prepare yourself for learning, meaning set the intention of why you want to learn this, eliminate distractions, get into an environment where you can immerse yourself into it if you can. That's not always possible, but if you can, great. And just get to work and take the action. Now, I know that's easier said than done, but preparation really helps with learning. And if you don't prepare your mindset as well, you're simply not going to be able to learn. Because if you're distracted, you didn't prepare your environment. Like, if you can go into a quiet environment, if you can eliminate distractions like turning off your cell phone or any notification on your computer if you're reading an ebook on your computer or on an ebook device, then you're not going to learn. So I would highly, highly, highly recommend you start with at least those actionable steps in tip number 1. So to again eliminate distractions by turning off like your phone. If you can go to a quieter environment to learn, if you can immerse yourself and really set the intention of why you want to learn this. That was a lot for tip number 1. Tip number 2 is to test yourself. So there's a technique called the Pomodoro technique, and I've learned this in 2020 through a book called Limitless by the author Jim Quick, which I'm going to post like right here, like an image of it, and I'll post it in the comments in the description down below if you want to check it out. But what the Pomodoro technique talks about is setting a timer on a device. So you can use your phone at this point and set a timer for 25 minutes. Let's say 30 minutes. So 25 minutes of the 30 minutes, you basically just go full force. Uninterrupted productivity, just get to work. And once the timer is up, or you can set it at 25 and you hear the alarm, for the 5 minutes, what I usually do is I try to remember everything I just read or I've just retained or whatever I just saw, learned, and try to see if I can explain it back to myself. And if it's comprehensible to myself and I understand it and I can make reference by using some sort of an analogy that can help or in a reference point, that means that I've successfully learned it. And then I would do another Pomodoro technique. But it's highly recommended that you don't do multiple Pomodoro techniques one after the other. I would highly recommend to take, after you've done that 5 minutes of kind of retaining, to give yourself another 10 to 15 minute break, and then you can do another Pomodoro technique or come back to what it is that you're learning later. You don't want to overwhelm yourself. And remember, in one of my last videos where I talked about the 3 steps on how to take action, it's all about micro commitments, micro steps. So chunk it down, make it digestible. So that was tip number 2. Test yourself. Which leads me to number 3, or tip number 3. If you can teach it to yourself and teach it to others. So in that same book, Limitless, if you're able to teach it to yourself and teach it to others, you have successfully learned it twice. Meaning, if you can, again, and this kind of goes into point number 2, or tip number 2, if you can test yourself, but also then explain it with very clear and very comprehensible to someone, and they understand what you just said or what you just taught, guess what? You have learned what you were after. And this doesn't just refer to like watching videos or reading an article or reading a book. This applies to like playing a guitar or playing the piano. This can be applied to anything. So if you can teach it to someone and they can understand clearly what you're trying to teach them, that means you've successfully learned it twice. And I also try to make sure that when I'm digesting content or I'm reading a book or learning anything new, that I have the intention, this goes back to a little bit of tip 1, having the intention of looking to be able to teach it to others so that they can implement it in their lives. Just like what I'm doing right now with this YouTube video. Trying to teach you so that you can implement these steps into your life. Well, I'm going to go back through these 3 tips again to recap. So tip number 1 was sharpen the axe, which means to prepare yourself. Prepare yourself with the intention to learn what you're trying to learn. And have the intention that you want to learn it so that you're able to teach it to someone else. Which also means to immerse yourself if you can. Which also means to eliminate distractions if you can. Tip number 2 was test yourself. Testing yourself by focusing using the Pomodoro technique. Again, setting the timer for 30 minutes or 25. Set it for 25 minutes. Go full force. Take a 5-minute test break on yourself and see if you retained what you've learned. And then take another 5 to 10 minutes to just relax. And then you can go back into another Pomodoro technique. Or come back to whatever you were trying to learn later. Because remember, you don't want to overwhelm yourself when you're trying to learn something new. You got to break it down to micro steps. Chunking it down to the smallest step possible. And tip number 3 was to teach it to yourself, to teach it to others. With the intention, if you can teach it to others, that means you have successfully learned it twice. All right, everybody. I know this one was a little bit longer, but I just wanted to share the 3 tips that I had on how I've been able to hyperlearn and learn things faster. And I hope this was of value and very informative to any one of you. And if there's anyone of you that has any other experiences or tips, please share it in the comments down below, because I would love to learn from you and also implement it into my life, because I love learning. I'm a lifelong learner. And that's about it. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me on this video. And like I said, if you haven't already, please hit the like button, smash the subscribe button, and turn on the notification bells so that every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time when I post, you'll be able to see it in your notifications and be able to watch it. All right, everybody, I wish you all lots of love and light. I hope you all keep on shining bright. Have yourself an amazing day, and I love you all a megaton. And I am the superhero of love, Andre, and I will catch you all in the next one. Bye.